Hello everyone, I'm here to teach you the next part of the chapter nutrition. So today we're going to study about the importance of vitamins and about water. First we'll study about vitamins. There are two types of vitamins in our body. Vitamins are classified broadly into two types. They are the fat soluble vitamins and the water soluble vitamins. Now by fat soluble vitamins it includes vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E and K, and these vitamins can be stored in our body for a longer period of time. That is, they will not get extinguished, they will not get over soon. Okay, so they will remain in our body for longer periods of time. The next category is the water soluble vitamins. They are vitamin B1, B2, C, etc., and they cannot be stored for longer periods of time. That is, they get consumed very fast by our body, they get absorbed into our blood very fast, and they get used up very fast. Now, what are the various characteristics of vitamins? Well, vitamins are chemical substances which are required for our body in very minute amounts. They are not required in a large amount, but minute amounts. They act as catalysts or enzymes in the chemical changes that take place in our body. Now, you know your body is undergoing changes all the time. There are numerous physiological and chemical changes happening in your body. Now, for these changes to take place, there is a important role of catalyst. What are catalysts? As you must have learned in chemistry, they are substances that increase the speed of the reaction, which without themselves having to undergo any chemical change. So these vitamins are like catalysts, that is, they help in the various processes of our body, but itself does not take part in the processes. Now, vitamins are obtained from the foodstuffs that we eat. A couple of them are synthesized in our body. For example, vitamin D and vitamin K are synthesized by our own body. Excess of vitamins can be very harmful for our body also, and some of these vitamins, when they become excess in our body, they are thrown out of the body or as excretions. Now this is a table which will show you about the various vitamins. The first column will show you about the various vitamins. The names of the vitamins are given. The second column are the sources of the vitamins. The third column gives you the chief functions of the vitamins, and the fourth column will give you the names of the deficiency diseases of each of these vitamins. Now first we will study about the fat soluble vitamins. As I told you, A, D, E and K are the fat soluble vitamins, and all of the vitamins belonging to the B section, B1, B2, B3, B4, etc., all these are belonging to the section of the water soluble vitamins. Okay, so starting with A, you have vitamin A. The other chemical name for it is retinol. Now they are found in butter, egg yolk, liver, milk, carrots, green leafy vegetables, yellow fruits, fish, liver, oils. What is the chief function? It promotes the growth of the body, it resists infection of the skin and the mucous membrane. It's a component of visual purple in the retinal cells of the eyes for perception of the image. Okay, so in the retina of our eye, the cells of the retina, they need this vitamin to perceive the color, to perceive the image. Okay, so that is why this vitamin is important, vitamin A. So that is why you have studied from your lower classes, deficiency of this vitamin leads to a disease known as night blindness. Okay, the other one is xerophthalmia, which is dryness of the cornea, and ulceration. Ulceration means the formation of ulcers. Okay, they are like infections of the eye. Okay, cornea and ulceration. Next, we come to vitamin D. The other name for it is calciferol. Where is it found? In fish liver oils, in milk, in eggs. It is produced by ultraviolet rays of the skin. Okay. Then it helps the body to use calcium and phosphorus to form the bones and the teeth. The rickets, if the deficiency of the disease will cause rickets in children, the bones lack calcium and they will turn soft. Osteomalacia in adults, that is softening of the bones in adults, fractures may occur because of softening of bones. The disease is osteomalacia. Now, vitamin E, the chemical name is tocopherol. It is found in meat, milk, and whole wheat. The chief functions are it prevents oxidation of vitamin A, otherwise vitamin A will get lost. Okay, so it is preventing oxidation of vitamin A. Deficiency of disease will lead to muscle weakness, nerve damage, and immune system problems. K is also known as phylloquinone and it is found in green leafy vegetables. It is found in cabbage and spinach and also synthesized in our intestines. Okay, you will study later on when we learn about the digestive system that vitamin K is synthesized in our large intestine. Okay, now the chief function is it is needed for the clotting of the blood. Now, any deficiency of this disease will lead to hemorrhage, that is a delay in clotting of blood. Okay, now we move on to the water soluble vitamins. We study first one B1, that is thiamine. Where is it present? In whole grains, in yeast, in liver, in eggs and lean meat. What is this function? Increases the growth and appetite of the child, helps in digestion and functioning of the nervous system. What disease does it cause? Beriberi, which is an inflammatory disease, okay, or a degenerative changes of the nerves. The muscles become weak. Now we go on to B2, that is the chemical name is riboflavin. It is found in eggs, liver, milk. It is found in yeast. It is found in green vegetables. It regulates the oxidation of food. Its deficiency diseases, irritation in the eyes and the skin and the intestinal disorders, inflammation of the tongue. Okay, so many times you get those blisters in your mouth area. Okay, they are due to deficiency of vitamin B. And if you notice, if you take more of these vegetables, okay, more of green leafy vegetables, or if you take more of eggs, okay, this formation of those ulcers will stop in your mouth. Vitamin B3, lean meat, its name is niacin, and lean meat, liver, milk, eggs, groundnuts, whole grains promotes health of the skin and the nervous system. Its disease is pellagra, dermatitis, that is skin inflammation, loss of memory, diarrhea, skin lesions, rashes. So all this is belonging to pellagra. Pellagra is a disease which is characterized by lack of vitamin B3, and because of this the patient can suffer from dementia, that is loss of memory. Okay, also he can have repeated diarrhea. Okay, and also some inflammation of the skin, dermatitis. Now we move on to vitamin. Next one, vitamin B5, that is pantothenic acid. Okay, it's found in mushrooms, avocados, sweet potatoes, and lentils. Its synthesis and metabolism of the fats and proteins promotes healthy skin, hair, eyes, and the liver. What is the deficiency cause? It causes fatigue. Okay, tiredness, that is loss of coordination. He's not able to coordinate his hand movements with his leg movements and eye movements. The B6, that is pyridoxine. It is meat, fish, eggs, cereal, bran. Bran is the outer covering or the coating or the skin of the grains. Interconversion of amino acids, skin problems and nerve disorders. B9, that is folic acid, is found in liver and leafy vegetables. It is synthesis of hemoglobin that is required in your blood for carrying the oxygen. Anemia, as you know, deficiency of hemoglobin leads to anemia, that is blood deficient in the red blood cells, hemoglobin low in the total volume. Now we move on to the second last one, B12, that is cobalamin. Okay, where is it found? It is found in liver, meat, milk, cereals, pulses. It affects the normal functioning of the red blood cells. Again, it is to do with the hemoglobin. So, pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia is a severe type of anemia which actually looks very subtle. Okay, but it can be lead to greater problems in life. A severe anemia coupled with great weakness and gastrointestinal disturbance, degeneration of the spinal cord. Next, you have the ascorbic acid, which is present in fresh citrus foods, lemon, grapes, grapefruit, oranges, tomatoes, germinating seeds, etc. It gets readily destroyed by heat. Okay, so promotes the functioning of the capillary walls of of the blood vessels, increase susceptibility to infection. Okay, So scurvy, spongy and bleedy gums, and loosening of teeth. So deficiency of C, vitamin C, ascorbic acid can lead to scurvy. That is what you studied in your lower classes. And what is scurvy? Bleeding of the gums. Okay, you find it in citrus fruits, etc., and it helps in the proper functioning of the capillary walls of our blood vessels. So that's it. Now we move on to the next part, that is water. Now we all know that water is very essential for the proper functioning of our body because two-thirds of our body weight is water. 70% of our body is made up of water. It acts as a solvent for thousands of organic and inorganic substances found in our body. It is used to produce digestive juices which are present in our body. It helps in transportation of digested food and oxygen throughout the body. So it is like a transport system used in the excretion of soluble waste, involved in maintenance of the body temperature. So it helps to balance the body temperature also. Now, why should we drink sufficient water every day? Because we are losing water continuously from our body, the process of sweating in the form of urination and also as water vapor. You know, when we breathe out, we give out water vapor. So water is lost when the process of respiration also. So this loss has to be replaced. Okay, so how is this replaced? Only if you take sufficient amount of water. Well, when we eat fruits and vegetables and liquids that we drink supply us with water. But still we should have at least 8 glasses of water or 2 liters of water every day. Okay, so that is a must for the proper functioning of your body. Okay, now we go to the next part of the chapter that is known as roughage. Okay, now what is roughage? Roughage is a non-digestible cellulose part of the food. Now, where will you find this cellulose? Cellulose is found in the cell walls of plants. So, whenever you eat any vegetable or fruits, you are actually consuming a little bit of cellulose also. Okay, now we do not have cellulose digesting enzyme in our body. Okay, we don't have a cellulose digesting enzyme. That is why we cannot eat grass. Okay, why does a cow eat grass, more of grass, and we cannot eat grass? Because if we eat grass, we cannot be digesting the grass because we don't have the enzyme required for digesting the grass. Okay, so that is why the cellulose, it remains undigested and it remains as a roughage, as a fibrous part of our food. Okay, so the undigested cellulose being fibrous in nature acts as a roughage. Now we move on to the importance of roughage. Now being fibrous, the cellulose is able to absorb a considerable amount of water and it retains the water also. Okay, so because of this, it keeps the fecal matter, okay, soft and prevents us from suffering from constipation. Constipation is lack of bowel movements. The movement of the undigested food throughout the intestine becomes easier. It becomes easier for the undigested food to move through our intestines. Okay, from the small intestine to large intestine becomes easier. Okay, because of the presence of the roughage. It stimulates muscle coordination in the intestinal walls, making movement of fecal matter easier. Helps to remove toxins and cholesterol. Now, because it is able to move, it is able to remove the toxins. What are toxins? The unnecessary bad part of the food which we have digested, which we have taken in. So that can be also thrown out with the help of roughage. Okay, and also it is able to remove the cholesterol. There is a fat part of the food that we have eaten. Now we move on to the sources of roughage. What are the sources of roughage? Well, we get roughage from vegetables that we eat, fruits that we eat, corn, dahlia. Dahlia is the broken wheat. Okay, it's called dahlia. And also lots of roughage is present in cabbage. Outer coats of seeds and grains also contain roughage. Salads, whole fruits like guava. If you eat guava with the seeds, it gives you ample amount of roughage for your body. Now, lastly, we come to a term known as malnutrition. Now, what is the meaning of malnutrition? It is a condition a person suffers due to lack or deficiency of one or more essential elements of food. So, you can see these children suffering from malnutrition due to deficiency of sufficient elements. Okay, one or more sufficient elements. Either it can be carbohydrates, it can be fats, it can be proteins, it can be minerals or vitamins. So lack of any one of these will lead to malnutrition. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.